Good morning. Welcome to week 3 of Plan on Finishing Well. We are basing or inspired by John chapter 15 that we need to be grafted into the vine of Jesus Christ. We need to abide in the Lord. And when we start to drift from God, we start to lose our passion and our focus, and we put finishing well in extreme risk. So we have, in the past 2 weeks, gone through our mini challenge here of discovering your story, find your pace, laugh, cry, and get angry. And today we're going to launch into who cares? If you remember what your story was, we had talked about what your passion is and finding your purpose in life and being intentional. Write your story. Don't just be influenced by all of the buffeting waves around you, but have a goal and be firing, empowering intentionally towards that. And if you don't like your story, that's okay. This is a great opportunity to shift course. Sometimes I think we have this incorrect notion that we need to ditch the boat and create a whole new one. But you don't. You can take your existing journey and just start correcting your course and start changing parts of the supporting pieces. It's easier often to work with changing pieces than to scrapping everything and starting over. Now, that said, there's a time and a place to just scrap everything and start over. And that's exciting too. So be Holy Spirit led in that. Finding your pace. You don't need to go up a cliff in 5th gear, right? We can downshift. We can take it slow. Keep going, but go at an appropriate pace. Change your tempo, not your tune, right? We can continue that consistent focus, but try to get more power for your punch and make sure that you're tapping into your heart and finding a pace that honors your heart and the people in you, focusing on your main storyline, right? Cutting off the stuff that is good or maybe even great, but not best. And we also talked about last week keeping your embers going, that when we keep that fire ignited, when we keep our passion burning bright, not only do we keep the predators away, not only do we keep ourselves warm, but we attract people to journey with us, and that's important to do. Of course, we've all heard the phrase, and we're just really going to refresh again, that retire is not a biblical principle. We refire, and to book in times of leisure, not live a life of leisure. And that your declining health doesn't mean you have to have a declining impact. So, and if you're looking for your passion, what makes you laugh, what makes you cry, what makes you angry, really spend some time sitting in those feelings and tapping into where they're coming from and how that reflects who God has made you to be. And Ephesians 2:10, the good works that He's designed you to do. We also spoke about building your team. It's important to have a mentor, have collaborators, have a disciple. Kingdom Advisors and Howard Dayton and a number of other influential people in the journey to honor God with our money really focus and highlight these statistics on people finishing well who don't have mentors. And the stats are quite clear. So they suggest that you have somebody who is ahead of you in this journey. Somebody who's walked a little further, a little longer, who's already been there to feed into you. Somebody who's walking alongside of you, a peer that you can mentor each other, that encouragement, that collaborating, and that somebody that mentoring behind you. Can you be mentored by somebody younger than you? Yes, you can. There's amazingness that we get when we humble ourselves and allow ourselves to learn from the richness of what other people have to offer, even if it's newer we're fresh, we're inexperienced or untried. That's okay. The recommendation is to make sure you have 2 of those if you're planning on finishing well, because that's what we've seen adds to success. Collaborators, you need someone to help you bury the bodies. It doesn't mean you need somebody to walk alongside you who's amazing, who's got it all figured out. You need somebody who you can fail with, who when you do stumble and trip is going to hand out reach out their hand and say, hey, let me help you up. Let's keep going. How can we get back on the path of your journey? Sometimes somebody who will just sit with you and say, oh yeah, we're taking a break right now. Don't take a break alone. It's okay. I got you. That's precious and that's powerful. So if you have somebody like that in your life, value them, appreciate them, and hold them close. Feed into that relationship. Don't take it for granted. Right? And then get a disciple. You need someone behind you kicking you in the butt. Somebody young is great for that job because they've usually got pep and they've got enthusiasm. They don't know that they should be worried when they're going into that one because they haven't experienced it. So they're like, why are you going so slow? Let's go. And they're pushing you from behind. What a powerful presence in your journey. Somebody that can, again, ignite that passion and just come at it. Sometimes we need to temper with wisdom and planning, but sometimes, you know what, we just need to barrel in and give it a shot and come out the other side and then look back and say, how'd that go? What can I take away from it? Who can you help? That's important, that when we're also looking at these things, that we're looking at building into these relationships, that we are receiving mentoring from them, but also how can we help these people, right? It should be a two-way, a give and a take. And if it's not there, look for the possibilities. Maybe you have somebody where it's a one-way relationship feeding right now. How can you spark that two-way trading and feeding off of? Who cares? Your stakeholders are the people in your life who are watching, listening, caring, and have a vested interest in your life and well-being. Who are these people in your life? How are you honoring and nurturing these relationships and individuals? When you chart your course for the next chapter, remember who all is in the boat. Sorry, another typo there. Who else is on the boat? Actually, no, not a typo. I think that's what I meant that day. And these are important things. Who's on the boat helping you man it, and who's in it that's just along for the ride. Both have value. Both have value. If you don't know who your stakeholders are, it's time to find out. And if you're not valuing your stakeholders and you're not honoring them, it's time to apologize for that and come with a spirit of humility and say, I'm sorry. You matter. You are impacted by my life and my decisions. And I am going to be mindful about that going forward because I want to honor you. If you do nothing else from this course, that has eternal value. Figure out who your stakeholders are and engage. People love to be included. You now have a story to tell. You're excited about it. You have built a team. You know who's dragging you along from the front. You know who's helping you pick up and bury the bodies on the course. And you know who's kicking you from behind, spurring you to go. So you've got your team. Now expand your scope. When you are intentional about involving people, you benefit from their gifts and they benefit from participating. Your stakeholders, the people who have a vested interest in your well-being, in your choices, in your life, get them involved. It matters to them. Who cares? They do. They care. They care. You impact them. They have gifts. they have talents, they have abilities. You can utilize those. Rally them onto your team. Start developing them. You may end up with a whole lot of disciples, and that is wonderful. That's wonderful, because the people you are impacting are going to be your best asset if you're investing in them and allowing them to invest in you. Otherwise, they are your greatest liability, because the collateral damage of those broken relationships, it's like having a bomb going off from inside your hull, since we're using a boat analogy. So you have a vested interest in them as well. The best way to help them succeed is to allow them to be part of your success, to mentor that, and then to build them in and develop them. Matthew 28:18-20 says, go into all the world and make disciples. Now, the internet may not be your friend, but I bet one of your stakeholders is fluent. So see the internet as a gift. Connie Jacob from the Brave Tribe, which is now Flourishing Tribe, and is expanded immeasurably. This is one of the things she challenged me. She's like, Colleen, you would never shy away from inviting somebody into your home, having them sit down in your living room for a cup of tea if they needed to talk, if they wanted to collaborate, if they just needed to discuss things. I'm like, well, of course I would. Everybody's welcome in my home. Of course they would be welcome in my home. And she told me, the social media is today's living room. Why aren't you inviting people into it? So I was challenged to set aside my personal feelings about social media. And I was challenged, and I told her that I would commit to loving it with her, that I would embrace that challenge. And this has born this little mini course that we've been working on, and my posts on the Swaggers Insurance site. And I actually have another little mini group that I've started, More Than Me, for people that are really passionate about investing in others with unconditional love. All it took was somebody who was on my team, not even a really the close team, but my peripheral team, with an idea, a perspective that I hadn't thought of before. Sharing her knowledge, sharing her passion, sharing her vision. And it sparked a whole new area for me to invite you into my home, into my office, into my space, into my living room over social media. You probably have somebody in your life who can help you take social media and make it your mission field, to make it your platform for business, to make it your funnel for your purpose. You can now focus with intention on your calling and reach the world with it. Amazing concept. Look at your stakeholders. What gifts, skills, and abilities do they have, and how can you engage them? Number one, because it will help you stay on course. Number two, it gives you accountability. Number three, it's good for them. Number four, when we're all in it together, we all have a vested interest. It brings things out of us that otherwise would lay dormant. When we collaborate with others, it sparks ideas that would otherwise lay dormant. This is next week's glimpse. We're going to move into More Than Me next week. And I just want you to start thinking about and preparing for taking your stakeholders, taking your team, your person who's dragging you ahead, your person who's walking alongside, journeying with you, and the person who's behind you, booting you forward. Take those people, take your stakeholders, those peripheral people, start intertwining them, and start thinking about and start dreaming about, start really being mindful about what opportunities you have to now take that powerful vessel of passion and purpose and launch it. Have a great week.